All right, Irish, what do you have for We the People this week in the family discussion realm?
How to talk to kids about bullying. And a question for the creatures of the universe.
Yes, we have some goofiness that you're going to get all wound up about.
Yes.
Why are adults so obsessed with Disney?
All right.
Let's go. Hello, Scout friend Cheska.
Hello. Dad.
Oh, you throw that in at the end, do you? Were you not sure who I was for a second? You're like
exactly.
Going through your Rolodex of people, you know?
Exactly.
Oh,
I just had to make sure.
Father, it's you.
Yeah, I had to make sure.
How be ye?
Good. You?
Yeah, good.
All right.
Yeah. Ready to rock and roll, huh?
Yeah.
Throwback talk, man. Yeah.
How is that a throwback talk?
Rock and roll!
Don't ever do that again. Ew.
Oh my God, really? Really?
That was so crazy.
6'7".
Don't ever do that again
Rock
either.
and roll is saying rock and roll is way cooler than saying 6'7".
No, it's not.
All right.
Maybe in the 20s. Wait.
The 20s. Wow. Once again, need to up the math work.
Dad, obviously you weren't born in the 20s, were you now?
Well, is it obvious? Even your grandpa wasn't born in the 20s.
I know.
All right, let's
right.
go.
Our topic for today is how to talk to your kids, or kids in general, about bullying.
Bullying, yeah.
Yeah.
Big problem.
This is a very big problem, yeah. And I don't think it'll ever stop being a problem, honestly. I mean, it's just one of those things. Some kids are just not very nice.
Kids, man, adults.
Yeah,
it's
adults
not like
too,
it stops when you're...
No.
Yeah, there's some adults are professionally massive bullies.
Yeah, I mean, watching a couple episodes of Love Island yesterday with Sophia.
Aw, do you have to say that out loud?
You can just...
I've never been sadder.
Okay. Wow.
It's so dumb, man. I was watching it over your shoulder there for 5 minutes, and I swear I lost the ability to do the 12 times table.
Okay. Well, I watched 2 episodes, and I can still do the 12 times table.
You probably can't even do the ones.
Yes, I can. What? Anybody can do the ones.
Nah, not after an episode of Love Island. All right, bullying, yeah, the worst, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky thing because if your kid is going through it, there's a chance that they don't want to talk about it because they don't want that to be the reality. They don't want to bring light to the fact that they might be getting picked on.
No, that's a good point, actually.
So
you think that's
hard.
the case?
Yeah.
You've been bullied a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, every kid has, I guess, I suppose.
Not really, no. Not every kid has.
I think most kids have experienced a bit of bullying, Irish. Because bullies tend to spray it around, right? They take a shot at everyone, and they see if they get a nibble, then they move in.
Yeah.
Right? Think about bullies in your class. Do they not pretty much target everyone at some point or another? And then if they get a rise or not, or if they think it's a victim or not, they either move on or continue to pursue the bullying, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I always found with bullies anyhow, observing them. They really take a shot at everyone. It's just they're pretty professional. They're good at knowing who they can actually victimize and who they can't.
Yeah, I'd say.
I think that's important. The reason I bring it up, I think it's important to understanding bullying and understanding bullies, because often it gets neglected, like trying to understand why they're such tools.
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky thing to talk to your kid about because,
Huge, yeah.
Like I said, they won't want to talk about it. It's not something that they want to tell people because it just makes them feel bad about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that they are being bullied or the fact that they are a victim, quote unquote, to like...
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
Being bullied, and it's a hard thing for a young kid to go through because they just want to feel accepted and welcome wherever they are. Because usually, if you're being bullied, it's in a place where you should feel safe, or a place you go to learn, like school, or the playground where you go to have fun, or
the home.
The home, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point too.
I don't want to, because I want to make sure we don't. I think it's important in the conversation that it's not just kids that get bullied. Again, I want to re-emphasize that it goes on with adults too, because it's a huge part of a lot of adults' life is bullying, whether it's in the workplace or at home, where there's somebody in their life that is trying to dominate them all the time.
Yeah.
So understanding how to deal with it, I don't think is much different from kids to adults. Because what everything you said, so when you say adults, like an adult who's being bullied is loath to come forward to tell anybody, I have this guy, he's bullying me at work, oh, this woman's bullying me at home. Who wants to tell anybody that?
No one.
No one.
I mean,
so coming forward would be the first step, right?
Yes.
If you're being bullied, make sure you tell someone. It's
For
not
sure.
necessarily a snitch thing. Like, you don't have to go tell the principal, but make sure somebody that you trust and somebody that has your back knows about it, and you can discuss it with them, right?
For sure. I definitely would agree with that. I mean, I think it's something that you have to talk to your kids about, even if they're not even if they're not being bullied. Maybe your kid is bullying somebody.
Oh, good point, man.
And maybe they don't even realize, or maybe they're like, oh, whatever, like.
Yeah.
Then it's something that you have to tell your kid about, because I think it's something every child should be aware of, every adult should be aware of. But I'm a kid, so I'm just talking about what I know. I'm not going to say something about an adult. I don't know what that's like.
I'll cover that.
But I think it's very important to talk to your kids at an early age about what bullying is.
For sure.
Even on a minuscule level, because it's something they have to be aware of. Maybe they go to school and they make a kid feel horrible, but they're not even aware that they're doing that. They're trying to get a rise at, they're trying to make their other friends laugh or something.
If you're paying attention as a parent too, I think you can see the signs early on if your kid's a bully or not. You can see how they act with other kids even when they're 3 or 4 years old. Like, they, are they going over and bathing them in the head? Are they taking their toys? Do they share? You can tell. You can see, oh, okay, boy, we got to get a handle on that.
I think
bullies are not made. I guess if it's nature or nurture, I wonder if bullies are made or born. I think they're made.
Yeah, I think they're made too.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I think when I kind of first found out what bullying was, I had just watched Wonder.
Yeah. What a beautiful movie that is.
Oh, and book too. If you guys haven't read or watched those books and movies, please go
read
and do that.
First.
The book, yeah. But yeah, I watched the movie and I think it really made me realize what bullying was and how major it is.
Yeah, like and how grotesque.
Yeah, and how big of a thing it is and how much of an effect it can have on somebody's life. Like just a carefree kid that doesn't think he's doing anything wrong and isn't doing anything wrong.
No, isn't at all.
And how much words and actions can affect that kid. And I think there's different ways to go about it as well. Like at school, they would put on these assemblies where people would come, and the famous paper one where they crumple up the paper and then apologize to it, and then you slowly uncrumple it, but it's still sort of crumpled when you uncrumple it.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah. Let me tell you, it did nothing.
No, I mean, that's the thing about bullying, right? Like the vice is always, well, go tell the teacher, go tell the principal.
That never worked once. Let me tell you.
We know that does nothing, man, and the bullies know that too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a bully, the psychology of a bully, to me, in my opinion, is it's always fear-based, right? They're always people who. The people they're bullying are people that have something or do something or are something that they aren't or want to be, right? So they want to make that person feel powerless. They want to dominate that person because of their own lacking. Like, you never see a person who's confident and feels good about themselves and is good at what the things that they can do, understands the things they can do. You never see that person being a bully, ever.
No.
Like, bully's always a particular kind of person that just doesn't feel good about themselves.
Yeah. It's a tricky thing. It's a hard thing.
Well, it's very hard,
especially to talk to your kid about it, because maybe the parent doesn't know how to go about it. Like, they don't remember a time where they didn't experience it, even if they did.
I think it's just because, like, as you say, it's just a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah.
If you're an adult and you're somebody's bullying you at work, how do you deal with that? You go to the boss, or I mean, it doesn't always work like that. Maybe the boss and the person who's the bully are best friends. There's a million reasons why it's a problem, and what exactly do you do about it? How do you stop it? I think that the first step is to understand, again, the person. It's coming from fear and weakness.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing to understand. And then you have to be able to feel good enough about yourself that you don't let it affect you, because that really takes most of the power away from the bully.
Yeah.
If you just if it doesn't have any effect on you, then they'll stop in general. There's different kinds of bullying, though, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just
step
to
one,
say,
though, is to not let it affect you.
I do think that just to say that if you're, if you don't let it bother you, or if you act like it's not bothering you and it'll go away, I think that that's also kind of not true a lot of the times, especially now, because there's different ways that they can do it. They can cyberbully you. They can, there's so many fixes now that bullies have to the person just ignoring them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as easy as that.
But I'm not saying ignore. I did not use that word.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that you truly have to understand that it's coming from, this is why I prefaced it with the weakness and fear, right?
Yeah.
You have to understand that it's coming at you from a person who's fearful and weak. You have to not let it bother you, not ignore it. You have to understand what it's coming from. So as long as it's not a physical attack, if it's just mostly mouth, which it usually is, that's one thing, right? So ignoring it, no, you're not ignoring it. You acknowledge it to yourself. You're just not feeding it, and you realize that it's not a reflection on you, right?
Yeah.
So if the person's endlessly bullying you, that's step one. I'm not saying that's going to work, but that's the ground zero, is that you have to understand what kind of a person's doing it, and you have to understand that it's not a reflection on you. You got to start there. I'm not saying that's going to stop it.
Yeah.
But that's the start, right? Because a lot of times, my biggest concern for the victims of bullying is that it makes them feel bad about themselves.
Yeah.
That's the biggest concern, is that if you can avoid feeling bad about yourself because some goof feels bad about him or herself, that's a start.
I also want to make sure to touch on the fact that if your kid comes and tells you that they see somebody else being bullied, I think it's important to tell your kid that it's okay to stand up for that person.
Definitely.
Because even if it's not your kid that's directly being affected by it, I think it's important to make sure that other kids in that school or that area feel safe and happy and
that's a great point,
comfortable.
Man. I think that's one of the biggest things you can do.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I want to make sure another thing is that I think as a parent, you should make sure that your kid knows that it's okay to stand up for yourself. Like, it's okay to not just accept how you're being treated. Because I think a lot of parents don't tell their kids that to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
I think they just kind of expect it. But it's not expected. Like, that's not something that every kid can just do.
For a lot of kids, that's really difficult. Is to act outside of themselves in defense of themselves. It's really complicated. There's two things there to what you said. The first thing that made me think is the helping thing. I think that's huge. It doesn't necessarily mean you jump in. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes that's not the right move.
For sure.
But you can definitely support the person later. You can let them know, hey, I saw that. That's no good. That, don't worry. Don't let that affect you. That person. There's all kinds of things you can do to help. So I agree with you 100%. That's super important.
Yeah. And
the other thing, the standing up for yourself, that is the trickiest one of all, isn't it? Especially as a boy growing up, like when or as a father too, because we've had this discussion, right? It's the punching the person in the nose approach.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a very fine line. Like, I've never told you guys to strike out at somebody. You've been trained in jiu-jitsu. You're trained to be confident. You're trained to be able to walk away from fools like this because you know that they're not a threat to you, right? But if somebody's physically in your face endlessly, if they're putting their hands on you, what do you do then? Like, I'm still not sure, even after all of these years, even after being a kid and being an adult and being a father and having kids and watching you guys grow up, I'm still not sure what the answer to that is, to be honest. I think there's times, and there's a certain type of bully where you have to stand up for yourself at some point. And now if that's a verbal thing or it's a spiritual thing or a psychological or emotional, but at some time it might be physical. It's a really, really tough area, bullying, because they're just relentless. The worst ones are just relentless.
Yeah, I mean, nothing stops them.
Yeah, so what do you think about that? I mean, what do you think? Like, it's easy to say to a kid, oh, never engage them, never, but it's like, whoa, the dude, you know, what if some kid's pushing a kid, like physically putting his hands on them or grabbing them in a headlock or throwing their stuff around?
In a situation like that, I think one of the worst things you can do one of the worst first things you can do is tell a teacher. That will not make it better. That'll make the kid sneakier and meaner. Because not only now is the kid picking on you for no reason, but now they also know that you told on them, which is just going to make it way worse. Trust me on that. So
we have to be really careful here, though, because I 100% agree with you. But the conventional wisdom, they're always beacon on and on about tell somebody, tell an authority figure, and both of us are in agreement.
Yes.
You've tried to do that. I've encouraged you to do that, and we've found that is can at times not be a solution at all. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I 100% hear what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong, which is what makes it tricky again.
I think telling someone is a good idea. I think telling a parent
that you trust.
Somebody that you trust, whether that's, a counselor or...
You have to tell someone.
Yeah, I think that's like bottom line.
Yeah.
You always have to make sure somebody knows what's going on.
Absolutely.
For me, that would be, a parent. And...
Or anybody that's close to you that you can tell, right? Because for some kids, that won't be an option, unfortunately, right?
Just anybody that you trust or you think will do the right thing by you. I mean, if it's physical...
You're creating a witness.
Yeah.
Which is not... That's
not nothing.
Yeah, you're creating a witness.
I think if it gets physical... I mean, it's a tricky one because a lot of kids don't know how to defend themselves. A lot of kids can't do that for themselves. So I think it's good to tell somebody that you think can defend themselves or can stand up for you.
In my experience, from what I've seen, like seeing bullying going on, it seems like I'd like to think that I've never bullied anybody, right? But that's probably not true when you're a kid, because now my idea of bullying has expanded too. What I used to think of as bullying and what I think of as bullying now is two different things completely.
Yeah.
Because there's bullying that I just thought was having fun or goofing around when I was younger that I realize now, no, man, that's just bullying too. Yeah. That's an attempt to take away somebody's, to dominate. It's an attempt to dominate somebody. So bullying's bullying. And I think I truly think most of it ends if you realize that the other person's a tool, and that's the starting point, is that they're just coming from a place of weakness and fear, and that you have to stick up for yourself. And that doesn't mean you have to go getting violent or getting screamy or getting devious or being a bully back. It just means you have to you have to say no. And most bullies are cowards. That was the point I was going to make. What bullying I have seen go on is like real bullying, cowards. Almost all of them. For sure. And if they're good for bullying as long as it's a victim. As soon as the person stops being a victim, their power is gone. But that's for your garden variety 90% of bullies. If you get up into that next layer of bullying, that's another...
Cyberbullying.
No, not cyberbullying. That next layer, that last 10% where it's a really bad person who's got it out for you. It's beyond, it's something, a step beyond.
Yeah.
Cyberbullying is now a huge problem. I realize that.
I think that's a good thing to talk to your kid about, cyberbullying, because if your kid is growing up in this generation, it's nearly impossible to keep them off the internet. And I think that 90%, no, maybe like 80% of bullying now happens online.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
much harder to stop because a lot of the times you can't trace it back to one person.
No.
Often it's a group of people. It's usually targeted to a singular person. So it's a difficult thing, and I think it's very important to talk to your kid about cyberbullying.
Oh, it's huge, and the ability to bully online emboldens kids who wouldn't normally be bullies to become bullies,
Exactly.
because now you can do it anonymously. It's a kind of a different thing, but it has the same principles. You have to understand where it's coming from. You have to understand it's not a reflection on you. But in the case of cyberbullying too, you have to understand that it's just, you know, it's harder to cyberbully an adult, because an adult, the cyberbullying only works if you buy in.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem with it.
100%.
If you don't buy into it, if you're not online, like, imagine athletes or artists, they're being bullied nonstop. There's people spewing hateful things, death threats, all kinds of stuff. Like, the worst kind of bullying you can imagine goes towards well-known people online.
Yeah.
They just have to learn to ignore it, to make it meaningless, because they can't feed into it. They can't respond to it. If they did, they'd be doing it endlessly, for one thing, but also they'd never get out of bed.
Exactly.
So the internet is a whole other gross world
Yeah.
of behavior that needs to be addressed, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the easiest solution is to stay off it, which is what a lot of celebrities, a lot of famous people do now. They just don't even bother. They shut down all their accounts. They don't go and look at stuff. They just simply don't care what people are saying about them. Like, so for a 12-year-old girl being told that she's ugly or fat or skinny, or a 12-year-old boy being a 14-year-old boy being told that they're, you know, made fun of, or some weird AI picture or something, that can have a huge impact, for sure.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't.
I think another thing that isn't talked about enough, one last thing that I want to say, is that I think it's important to make sure your kid knows how to defend themselves. I think something that helped me a lot throughout the years where I was maybe being picked on a little bit was the fact that I always knew that if anything happened, I could defend myself. I knew that I wouldn't end up making myself a victim, because I knew how to defend myself, and I think that was very important to me. It made me feel a lot stronger, even when I was, you know, in the midst of being picked on. It made me feel safe in my own skin, and everywhere I went, that I wasn't a victim. I could defend myself. So I think it's important, even if it's just small things like teaching your kid how to block or anything like that. I think it's very important.
And obviously I agree, because, you know, I got you and supported you in learning how to do that. But that's not for everyone.
No,
like,
it's
there's
not.
some people who they just don't want to approach the world that way.
For sure.
To your point, though, it's confidence. Like, you're confident that you can defend yourself, so that takes a lot of the impact out of anybody trying to dominate you or bully you. And
sure.
like anything in life, confidence is everything. So a confident kid is really hard to bully. Like, that, bullies look for people they can bully. That's what I was saying at the start, right? They'll target the whole class. They'll try everybody one by one, and they'll see who they can get, who's a victim and who's not, and boom, then they get their game plan, right?
Yeah.
A confident kid, you can't bully a confident kid. No. You can physically get into it with them, but that's another thing, right? But you can't dominate them any other way.
Yeah.
Because they're confident. So I agree with you that learning to defend yourself, feeling confident physically, is huge. I strongly suggest that everybody do it with their kids. I really think jiu-jitsu is a great one, because it's kind of the jiu-jitsu is to control yourself and the other person.
For sure.
It's not to hurt anybody. That's an element of it, but it's not the point of it. The point of it is for you to be able to control yourself and to have control of yourself physically and emotionally. And so I think it's a brilliant thing. I don't think it's a super violent thing. I think it's a great thing for everybody to know, and certainly every kid, and especially every girl and woman.
Yeah, definitely.
But I get if somebody is against the idea of physically, but again, that's if you're against the idea, what do you do when the other person isn't against that idea? And there's people out there who aren't, man.
I know. All right. That's
confidence, yeah.
I think the best way to approach your kid about bullying is to tell them, make sure that they know it's okay to defend themselves, and stand up for themselves. And just tell them at an early age what bullying is so that they're aware of it and they know what to look for when it comes to other people and themselves.
And to make sure, if it ever happens, that they tell someone, not the usual, oh, go tell your teacher,
No.
but find somebody like you, the parent, or a friend, or somebody that you trust.
Exactly.
An adult. If you're a kid, an adult. And if you're an adult, find a friend, man, that you can trust, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable and tell them that somebody is doing this to you.
For sure. And make sure that you can be that person for somebody else if they are looking for somebody that they want to tell or that they can confide in. Make sure that you can be that person for them.
Very good point. Very good point. Be on the lookout. If you see signs, reach out and see if they need help. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Alrighty. Now, if you've been if you've been listening to our recent episodes, you know that we have a little question asked by a small child on the internet. And this week I have one that you kind of have to know some backstory on. So, why are adults so obsessed with Disney? This is funny because recently I've gone down the rabbit hole of Disney adults, and it's possibly one of the funniest things ever. It's full-grown adults wearing Minnie Mouse ears, going to places like Disneyland, and they say things like, why are the rides so small? Why aren't the chairs that big? Like, I don't know, maybe because Disney was something crafted for little children and not giant adults. It's so annoying.
Basically, they're furries.
Yeah, they're the furries of Disney.
They're Disney furries.
It's so annoying. And they're so stuck up about it on the internet, too.
Okay, but to be the devil's advocate, man, some of them are just wanting to relive when things were nice and peaceful. Right? I think it's weird, man. If you're obsessed with Disney and you're 45 years old, I don't know.
I think that people that are obsessed with Disney and go to Disneyland or Disney World once a month, I think you guys are freaks. Personally.
So why the kid's question is why are adults so obsessed with Disney? Why?
That's a good question. Why are they?
Because I think they're trying to relive their youth, man. They're trying to they want to take a step away from life and be a kid again.
I just think that Disney adults are weird, and I think that a kid asking that question is really funny because as a kid, you watch Disney and you enjoy watching Disney. You know, maybe your favorite movie is Frozen, and you're sitting there and maybe your aunt is a Disney adult. You're like, why is this woman more into this movie than I am? At the ripe age of 55. I think that is the case with some people. Some people want to relive their childhood through movies that they really enjoyed growing up. And I think that other people are just weird. I don't know. Maybe some people really like the animations. But if you really like the animations of Toy Story 4, I think that there's something a little off there.
How is it different from Comic-Con? People going and 80-year-olds going and dressing up like Thor and walking in with their 80-year-old girlfriend who's dressed up like Wonder Woman. How is that different?
Because there's only about 6 5-year-olds on the Earth's existence that have ever said that the X-Men is their favorite movie.
Oh, so your problem with this is that. Oh, I get it now. Your problem is that somebody's dressed up like Mickey Mouse and they're 6'2", and some little 5-year-old is dressed up like Mickey Mouse, and you feel like they're horning in on their action.
Yes.
Okay, now I understand.
Some little kid at Disney so excited to get on their favorite ride.
It's not actually that they're into Disney, is that they're into a kid's thing.
Yeah, some little boy who's so excited to be at Disneyland for the first time and really wants to go on a ride, and then some 6'2" ape walks in front of them with Minnie Mouse ears on and takes up half the roller coaster because they wanted to hit the ride. You know what their website says? Fun family place. It doesn't say fun place to have your bachelorette party.
Whoa, is a 50-year-old dressed up like Scrooge McDuck?
Think of it this way.
Not a family member?
Think of it this way. You take your kids to Disneyland, right? You're really excited. Oh, I'm so excited to take my kids to Disneyland. Yeah. You stand in front of, you're looking at the fireworks, you look down, and somebody's getting engaged at Disney World at 30.
Yeah.
Would that not make you a little annoyed?
It would make me glad that I'm not going to be at their wedding, but it wouldn't bother me.
I don't know. Maybe if you're going with your group of friends, fun. That's fine. That's really fun and
Dude,
fine.
nobody's arguing if you go to if you're lining up first thing in the morning 5 days a week at Disneyland wearing a Daffy Duck costume that you're not a little bit off the you know, you probably got some issues, man. But if that's the only thing you're doing during the day that's disturbing to anybody, I'm all right with it.
I don't know, man.
All right, Kijang. Weird one.
Yeah, very.
Episode the 83rd. Miss Kijang, I
Yep.
love you very much.
I love you too. I'll see you next time.
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah.